So, welcome everyone. I'm excited to have Preet with us today. She is a holistic therapist and a mindset expert who helps people to transform the thinking pattern and unlock the potentials. What I love about her approach is how practical and actionable it is. She cuts through the noise and gives you the real strategies that you can use. I have personally worked with Preet in several sessions on both personal and professionally. So this is part of the reason why I've asked her to come along and share her gifts that she has with us. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you. Before we get into into today's topic, let's talk about the year end. Did you know that 2025 we ended a quarter for the century? So this is a huge ending, and this year marks a new beginning on so many levels. While it is the year of horse, it is the year of action. It is the year of change. It is the year of making a choice to transform. Because if you don't choose, chances are you're out of the game. You may have noticed in the last 2, 3 years, or the last 5 years, as a matter of fact, since the pandemic hit us, there's been a lot of unexpected deaths. That's because if you are not consciously choosing to change or transform your life or reality, chances are people are checking out and returning to Earth through the process of rebirthing. However, today I'm going to help you um, transform and manage yourself through 2026 so that you can conquer your mind and conquer the year. Next, please. So, my sacred life purpose is to embody the universal life purpose, the deep understanding of pure love guiding all souls into the highest, most liberated state of self love. Why is self love important? Or why is the self so important? How does it impact you transferring your work life? Well, everything starts with you. Now, imagine just heading into the office and going straight to the office, waking up, no morning routine, heading straight into the office. You're probably carrying baggages of yesterday that you may be aware of or may not be aware of. Hence, today we're going to discuss how you can change and bridge that gap and show up for yourself before you head out and start your day. I always believe that it starts with you. A very wise businessman once told me that he's a realtor. So he says that, the best investment is the investment in real estate. However, I believe the best investment is you. Because trust me, in every timeline, in every lifetime, it is your soul's journey that matters the most. And it is something that you will carry along through the year, through the years, and through the timelines. Following that, my other life purpose is to anchor the truth that life is simple when initiated by conscious thoughts and choices. I reveal the wisdom that every problem is a solution, enabling the finding of grace and unfolding love in all experiences. We need to understand that the word problem means solution. However, a lot of times we're programmed to circulate around it. Did you know that the distance between problem and solution is on the on two different sides of the same coin? However, we create the gap by looping around and circling around instead of finding a solution. So I would like for you to know and understand that there is always a solution. So going into 2026, you need to know and understand that if you find yourself stuck, know that there is a solution along with that. The question is, are you looking at the solution? Are you looking for the solution? Or are you looking to stay in the victim mentality? Raise these three questions to yourself so that you can move forward with grace, dignity, and integrity. Next, please. So, your 2026 vision starts now, today. Your thoughts, your words, and your reality. I can't emphasize enough, your thoughts create your reality. Words you speak to yourself creates your reality. I had a client recently that came in and was complaining. He said he did not want to hurt his partner, so he kept emphasizing, I did not want to hurt my partner, and I still ended up doing that. Now, if you hear what he said, he did not want to hurt his partner. The universe doesn't hear don't. Hence, he ended up hurting his partner anyways. So, it is the words you use that create your reality. So, you want to be so mindful of what you put out there. And when life throws challenges at you, it is, I initiate and I encourage for you to stand up for yourself, reflect back. However, not by going into the frequency of where they are, versus just picking up the mirror from where you stand in your sacred frequency and reflect it right back into their reality. That's all. Remember, you choose you and you take yourself forward with grace and dignity. Next, please. So, how do you choose to show up for yourself? You build trust and build trust within and allow that to reflect outside. Now, your mind is a it needs training. And if you don't train your mind, chances are you can't conquer your reality. So, how do you do that? You show up for yourself to make your mind feel safe. Create a non negotiable routine. Even if it's 5 minutes, if you've never done anything like it, start with 3 minutes. Gradually increase it. Remember, if you show up, you are your non negotiable. That's how the world is going to end up treating you around your work life as well. Because obviously, while there is room for negotiation in business, however, you will always get what you want based on the concept of 80/20. And what happens is when you show up for your mind, to your mind, the result is safety. It feels safe. And it in turn gives you the tools to navigate through circumstances and situation in your life. So I highly recommend creating a daily routine that where you can show up safely for yourself and use that to show up in your daily life. Because in contrast, when you don't show up for yourself, the mind conquers you. You know, a lot of times you have a million things to do. And how can certain people achieve the million things they have to do in a day versus certain people not being able to do that? The people that are able to do a million things a day are those that show up for themselves. If you talk, or if you've heard of Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, all the famous people, Mark Zuckerberg, all of them start their day by showing up for themselves. And this will not only impact you on a personal level, it will help you find a work-life balance with smooth ease and allow you to grow in ways that you've never imagined. Next slide, please. So here are some self-care routines you can do, you can practice, and how it helps you. You can you can govern your entire reality through your inner landscape, right? Gratitude helps rewrite your mind for gain. If you want to shift, the quickest way to shift something is through gratitude. And of course, transformation, change does require acknowledgement, learning, letting go. These are the three key to changes. And if that's not happening, try gratitude. And it's almost like where you focus your energy on, it is what multiplies. So if you focus your energy on yourself, you will be so much happier going into work. You'll contribute so much more. And you will be able to you will achieve so much more in less amount of time. You don't have to spend so much time on certain projects because it doesn't need that amount of time. However, with the distractions available today and us not knowing how to show up for ourselves because no one taught us to, it takes away and it multiplies itself. So if you start your day by showing up for yourself, chances are that will automatically impact your work-life decisions as well. Next is setting boundaries. Protect your fuel source. You have only so much energy, and you can regenerate that energy every single day by showing up for yourself. And then by choosing where you want to navigate those energies into. And yes, you can have it all. We're told otherwise that, if you're showing up for work, you can't go to the gym or you have to let go of a social event. No, if you plan well and if you follow it to the T, you can have it all. So I would like for you to remember that you can have it all. Next slide, please. Chaos versus clarity. Now, the mind loves clarity. And don't be afraid of clarity. Clarity is something that humans struggle to embody, to own. Give yourself the permission to gain clarity in all areas and aspects of life, and specifically things you want to do. So what? It's unique. So what? It's different to others. It doesn't have to be the same. It has to have your approval. And only your approval is what matters. So do not be afraid to show up with clarity for yourself because your mind likes clarity. And when it is not consumed by clarity, chances are it is consumed by chaos. Next slide, please. Okay. So here are a few ways you can show up in your daily life and transform besides self-care. You can have creative expressions where you just journal down whatever you have, whatever thoughts you have without any judgments. Just write down whatever is coming and nurture your connection with nature because nature really helps you ground yourself and it allows you to find balance. It is a very good tool to restart your system. Sometimes, due to life, you may go through moments where you feel unheard, unseen, unvalidated. Step into nature because nature can see you, validate you, hear you, and do so much more in its silence. We take nature for granted because it's so easily available. Next is authentic connection. Remember, less is more. You don't need many people in your life. You need people that are authentic. And how can you achieve authentic connection is by being authentic to yourself. Next slide, please. The three-step conquer model. First one is define the peak result. What must be in place? The ultimate level of energy you need. And what is it that you want to achieve by 31st December? And then you create a map and reverse engineer that. So let's say if for example, by 31st December, you need to make a profit of 50,000 USD. How are you going to achieve that? You're going to reverse engineer that. So by December 15th, you would have already completed all your tasks. Everything would have been for money to be there on December 15th. You gradually go to November. And in November, what are the steps you need to achieve in order for you to accomplish that money in December? And like that, you go down and you break it down and you reverse engineer it through the year for yourself and follow those steps. Make it small, actionable steps that you can take daily to achieve that big goal. Next slide, please. It begins now. Show up, set up, and rise up. That's my contact information. These are my services that I offer for corporate and private. Strategic sound integration, sound healing. It's very different and unique to what is offered within the market. There is a lot of silence involved, and the bowls that are used are antique bowls. And then deep focus and intuitive strategic alignment is more like a guided meditation for team clarity and vision coherence. Core confidence reintegration workshops. Sometimes, a lot of times our confidence is shaken so easily with so many things around us. This workshop helps people return to their center and stay grounded. And like that, I have two more workshops that I offer, legacy pattern mapping and reprogramming the subconscious mind, because if you can conquer your mind, you can conquer the year, and deep cellular resilient upgrades. So this is more like healing the work structure and deep DNA work. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Preet, for these. So, sorry, can we go back to the schedule of the workshop? One moment. Yeah. Are there dates for some of the workshops that you said you have coming up?
Not yet, but I will update once I have dates for those workshops. Yeah.
Okay, great. Was there another slide we're going to go through? Sorry, did I?
Oh, no, actually, yeah, these are just for private sessions. For anybody looking for private sessions, these are things I offer for you for in private sessions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, for those of you who have questions for Preet, feel free to stick it in the chat and I'll read them out because I know some of you maybe, I saw Jamie, I think she's in a cafe. I don't know if it's like super, super loud and maybe it might be difficult to ask the questions. So feel free to put them in the chat and then I'll shoot them to Preet to answer. I have some of my own questions based on some of the things that she touched on. Can you talk a little bit more about grounding your energy? Because maybe some people may have not heard of it. And what does that mean? And how does that help you when you talk about grounding your energy? And how does it help the mindset?
Right. So what grounding does is it helps you feel safe. Now, grounding connects you to the four pillars that is safety, stability, belief, and strength. So when you ground your energy into Mother Earth's heart space, when you connect your feet to the earth, what that does for you is it makes you feel safe. It makes you feel heard. It makes you feel validated. It's a very subtle, very easy way and the quickest way to transform your thoughts, your emotions, and how you're feeling in the moment.
Okay. And because we live in a mega city, right?
Right.
Not everybody is near a park and
Mhm.
some of these places, the community areas on the 10th floor of your
Right.
33 floor high riser. So in these kind of situations, what are the other options in terms of grounding your energy?
Visualization and certain foods that you eat really helps as well. So the root chakra tea helps. Dark chocolate helps ground you, and visualization also helps you on so many levels. If you just visualize yourself, your feet touching the roots of a tree and grounding yourself, that's all it takes to feel grounded.
Mm-hmm. And what happens when we don't feel grounded? You said it's on one end, it helps us to feel in ourselves and, safe. Well, how do you know you're ungrounded?
Because when you're ungrounded, you will fall easily. You'll be, the word careless is actually, people are not actually careless. They're just not grounded. Hence, they end up doing those small mistakes. And when you make those small mistakes, and when you're talking from a space of just, you know, and when your breath is not deep enough, those are signs that you may not be grounded.
Okay. So can you give an example? How do you know if you're breathing deeply or not deeply?
You can check that right now. You can
Okay.
you can just close your eyes, breathe in and see if your breath reaches below your heart into your solar plexus, down through your sacral, into your roots. If not, chances are you need a bit more grounding.
Oh, okay. Because normally how I perceive that is like don't just breathe into the top. But because we're also in yoga class together, right?
Mhm,
So we have
mhm,
the breath of fire. You have
mhm.
to breathe into the belly. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I always try to, but then when I notice like, oh, if I'm tired, is it because of my breathing? Like today, I think the air quality is almost like at 100. So not the
Mhm.
best. I've been a little bit sniffly from the dust today.
Right.
Um, yeah, so interesting. All right. My next question is because you talked about how people can, work the plans backwards. Can you give an example of how you've done that for yourself? And also like for you for 2026, do you also have one so that people can kind of, also visualize it for themselves in terms of how do they do what you do that you're recommending?
Absolutely, I do. I did one for myself for the first quarter. So I made a plan on how many clients I'd like to service. And based off that, so what I did was I want to reach certain number of clients and I want to get into corporate. So actions I have to take in order for me to get there. So in the last Okay, so in the last month of the first quarter, I would have had to be reached, I would have already had to reach there, meaning I would have to already have certain corporate that I've contacted, been in touch with, offering them my services. And then prior to that, the months leading up to that, my posts, connecting through LinkedIn, sending out emails, and all of that. So these are steps that I can take starting from here today so that I can lead up to that. I hope that gives a clearer picture of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're targeting to work with like 12 corporates, then you have a certain number,
Hmm.
whether it's like this month, I'm going to reach out to at least 100 corporates or something.
Exactly.
Right?
Something along those lines. Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And can you give like a success story of what you achieved for yourself in 2025?
Oh, absolutely. So, last year, I had a certain target to achieve a certain amount for myself. And through this reverse engineering process, I definitely did achieve that. And it was a very proud moment. It came more effortlessly because I showed up for myself. Actually, initially, when I started, I struggled a lot because while I did have my self-work foundation laid down, it wasn't as consistent. However, when I went into non-negotiable, when I made myself a non-negotiable, that was when everything transformed and I was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve.
Mm-hmm. That's a good segue into what happens when it gets challenging. And sometimes especially in conversations with clients, sometimes we set certain boundaries, but then of course we have clients who sometimes do what we call scope creep. Let's
Mhm.
say we say, okay, we're going to give you these 10 services over the period of the next 6 months, but then they start to add, right? And then how do when it gets challenging like that, what is your advice?
Okay, number one is you set boundaries. If you don't stick to your words, chances are they're gonna ask for more. So if you stick to your words, chances are they can negotiate. It's opened. However, they can take one out for the other. That's number one. Another way to deal with challenge is making a choice. In life, whenever you're going through challenges, make a choice to get out of it. Because when you don't choose, chances are you're passively choosing to stay stuck and to allow it to consume you.
There was a really good quote that I heard about that. Whether you choose actively or passively, otherwise, either way, you're choosing.
You are. It is. While we can blame it on, oh, it's chosen for me. No, not really. You actively or passively make the choice.
Right, you have agency, so you have to think about, because at the end of the day, right, we come into this world alone, unless you were a twin and you shared your mother's womb with somebody else, right? Still, and then we die alone, right, at the end. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so you have to make those choices for yourself. Let's stick on the work. How to find balance and accomplish the work goals, but still maintaining you're like, setting the boundaries and all this other stuff. But then, of course, uh, you and I may have also experienced as Asian women that there are certain expectations or societal expectations, and I'm sure you know this of, whether it's from your mom or your aunties, like whether you're going to work, but there's still these expectations of you needing to still fulfill these traditional ideas of what an Asian woman should do, whether it's in the kitchen, to have children, to, see to it that her partner or her husband, clothes are set out for him and his dinner is ready when he arrives home.
Right. So here's what I'm going to tell you. While
Mhm.
you should know it all, you should pretend that you don't know it all
Okay.
because that's what allows you to choose. Because if you show them that you know it all, you create bigger expectations. While you know it all and you show them you don't know it all, the expectations are lesser. So what you're doing is you're bearing the load lesser and you're sharing the load with other people. It's actually a very humbling thing because then everyone has the opportunity to hold themselves accountable for things that they are capable of doing versus depending on you. So give them their power back and maybe, you know, navigate the work and, hand it out to other people to help you. Help people help you.
And if that becomes difficult, not everybody knows how to ask for help sometime.
It's okay. You can learn. Everything can be learned.
Mm.
You have to just make up your mind to learn. I struggled with asking for help growing up. And somebody turned around, one of my mentors turned around and told me, Preet, that's the most egoistic thing if you don't know how to ask for help. And I was like, oh, wow, that is true. It hit it where it hurt. However, that really turned it around and taught me how to ask for help.
Why is it egotistical?
Because when you don't reach out for help, you believe I can do it all. I don't need anyone. I'm the best. That's
Oh, because you
yeah,
don't
that's
make
the underneath.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that's a good point. I feel I definitely have gotten much better. Um, like a couple years ago, 2, 3 years ago, I made a conscious decision that I wanted to have more leaders on my team.
Right.
And instead of, doing, because I'm a mom of two girls, sometimes I have this mommy behavior, uh,
Uh-huh.
and I have to stop myself from this behavior because I'm not helping the team to uh, think through, solve problems, give me different perspectives or ideas, so
Mm-hmm.
that because but by doing that, now I push back a lot. Instead of, I may have my own ideas of what I think should be, but
Mm-hmm.
now I withhold it. And I got this from listening to one of the speeches by Nelson Mandela.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His father was a chief of a village, and
Mm-hmm.
he always spoke last.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like the circle of leaders for their village, and he noticed like his father would always speak last, and he said, well, if I tell them what I think or my ideas immediately, they will not feel safe to voice their thoughts and opinions. So now I try to make that a part of, like, okay, tell me what you think this should, how should this be? Can you help me structure? I would do more of asking the questions than giving the answer.
And that's a perfect way because every human being has the answer to their problems. And even if it's work related, sometimes you may think they're new, they don't know, and all of that. Sometimes we underestimate them. Whatever they know in their capacity may be a foundation for where they could begin, or that could be their starting point. And
Mm,
then you can step in to help them because that would have already given them a sense of grounding in their ability to show up.
yes. I think that's really important, yeah, especially what it, energetically, what is coming up, right, with the year of the horse. It's like, I think it requires that you do need to show up, or you're going to end up, yeah, not where you want to be. So kudos to everybody who joined us today. My other question is, what's the best advice one can give themselves today that will transform their reality completely and through 2026?
Remind yourself that you got this, you're loved, and just do it every single day. Because sometimes all it takes is just showing up for yourself and saying these three things.
Hmm.
And it helps you, it looks like something so simple. It is so powerful because it will help you through storm. It will help you through everything.
I had one, uh, it's happened a few other times, but I recall one young lady in my office, she's an intern from Europe. And we
Mhm,
had a conversation, actually now two young ladies that just came to mind. And I was talking with her, and she was very stressed. I
mhm,
think something happened with her apartment, and
mhm,
she was wondering if she'd already given the 2 months deposit, and she was a trainee in our office, but something that happened in there made her feel like, oh, I should not be in this apartment, and my parents only gave me a certain amount of money, right, like to spend while she's here for the internship, and she was afraid, and what if the building didn't give her the money back? And she was so stressed about it, because she was thinking, she needs to go to a different building, based on an incident that happened with her and the management office. And I was doing EFT with her, and as those of you who may be familiar with EFT, the first 2, 3 lines is, even though this is happening, I love and accept myself. Even though this is happening, I love and forgive myself. And she got stuck and she said, I can't say that. And I said, why? Why can't you say you love and accept yourself and that you love and forgive yourself? She goes, oh, that's unheard of. She is a young lady from North African, but had been living in Europe for a time,
mhm.
basically since she was a child. So in her family setting is like all the women is about the thing that they do would just to give to the whole family, basically, and not about the self. So what happens if you have that hurdle about saying, I love and accept myself, or I love and forgive myself? What would be your recommendation?
My recommendation for those that struggle to do that for themselves.
Mhm.
My recommendation is just start by doing small little things for yourself, even if it's just buying yourself a cup of coffee or consciously drinking water. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. The journey to reach to yourself starts with the daily activities that you're already doing. Just add consciousness into it, and that is the foundation. And gradually increase the steps. If conversation is not happening today, it's okay. Maybe just actions, small little actions that you're conscious of, that you're doing it anyways. Instead of just going and randomly ordering a cup of coffee, just take a moment, pause, notice what this act of buying a cup of coffee is doing for you. Is it generating happiness? Or is it just a routine that you're doing? Or does it spark joy? That's why you have incorporated it into your routine. So, how is it serving you? So, these small little acts build that relationship with the self.
Okay, so do something nice for yourself. What you
Absolutely.
consider to be nice. And
Yes.
acknowledge, I guess you need to acknowledge, like, okay, I'm treating myself to a massage. I'm gonna go for a walk and give myself a brain break or something like this, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think those are all the questions that I had, and I just had a look through. I didn't get any questions, but I did see a message from Susanna saying, "Thank you, Preet and Nui, for the reminder to show up for ourselves and practice gratitude. It was helpful to hear the stories and examples that you shared, super helpful." So I just sent her a little happy heart sticker. So Jamie is saying thank you. I see her blowing kisses. I think she's walking along the street, so it might be a bit too noisy. I want to thank you for coming. And I think did you put in your LinkedIn in here or into
Yeah,
the
it's on the slide. Yeah, my
Oh,
link.
okay, it was on the slide. So yeah, let's go back to the slides. So if somebody wants to screen capture that, there you go. So in case if it's not convenient for you to look at your screen, her Instagram is Inner Solution, SOULTIONSS. And her LinkedIn is a bit too long, I think, for me too. Hi, Susie, how are you? It looks nice and sunny where you are. Hi, Remy. Thank you, Remy. Great tips, Preet. Sorry, gotta go now. Okay, great. Thank you for coming by. And then also just a quick reminder for everybody, we've got what you can't see, and this is for organizations. So this is about your business or service. If you feel there's something stuck and you want to do that. So this is something that I co-host monthly, which is a mastermind with my friend Dipti. And it's going to be at Public House on January the 29th. We're limited to 12 attendees. And then, of course, I think there's a next poster, right? Sky. Yep. And turning ESG challenges into business opportunities for SMEs. This is Lucille, the founder of Agence Tournen, and myself. I will be talking with her about what are some of the ESG challenges and how could this be an opportunity for you and your business in 2026. So thank you again, everybody, and we wish you a wonderful year of the horse. And yeah, we look forward to your recommendations for speakers for Q2 and any business referrals. I also welcome that. The team and I also welcome that. So if Fluke and Itzy and Sky could also say hello. So just FYI, like I mentioned to Preet earlier, I've been doing my part in delegating more and helping my teams to be better leaders in their life and in the
Amazing.
organization. Fabian, um, yeah, and Itzy, I don't know if your cameras are working. So these are the people behind the scene who helps to put the promotional material together, the videos, the backgrounds, the invitations, the reminders, the music, so many things that they do, which is great. And I'm appreciative of their good work in the team. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys at the next webinar or at our next North Star Mastermind.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Sawasdee
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. See you later.
See you soon. Thank you. Bye. Very good.